America, land of the free, home of the brave and built by immigrants. But lately, the conversation around immigration has gotten about as pleasant as a Thanksgiving dinner with your drunk uncle. We've got folks climbing over fences, swimming across rivers, and hiding in the backs of trucks. On one side, we've got folks saying, "Pull up the ladder, we're full." They worry about jobs, crime, and the culture changing. On the other, we've got people saying, "America was built on immigration. We need to keep those doors open." It's a hot mess, folks. So, what's the deal? Are we facing an immigration crisis? And if so, what's the solution? Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into this issue. Let's talk Turkey, shall we? Immigration is a topic that stirs up a lot of emotions and opinions. Immigration, both legal and illegal, impacts everything in our society. We're talking jobs, taxes, schools, hospitals, you name it. Every aspect of our daily lives is touched by immigration. On the economic front, it's a mixed bag with both positive and negative effects. Businesses love the cheap labor that immigrants provide, which helps keep costs down. Immigrants often take the jobs Americans don't want, like picking strawberries in the hot sun, or cleaning toilets at 3 a.m. These are tough, often thankless jobs. But some argue they drive down wages and take jobs away from native-born Americans, creating tension in the labor market. Then there's the cultural impact, which is equally significant. America is a melting pot, a beautiful tapestry woven from threads of different cultures, each adding its own unique color and texture. Immigration adds spice to the gumbo, introduces new flavors, and broadens our horizons, making our society richer and more diverse. But some fear it dilutes our national identity, causing a clash of cultures and values. And let's not forget about politics. Immigration is a hot-button issue that politicians love to exploit for their own gain. They use it to fire up their base, demonize opponents, and distract from more pressing issues that need attention. The rhetoric can be divisive, often overshadowing the real complex issues at hand. The truth is, there's no easy answer. Immigration is a multifaceted issue that requires thoughtful discussion and nuanced solutions. Immigration is complex, with costs and benefits that are difficult to quantify, but essential to understand for a balanced perspective. Remember the good old days when immigrants arrived at Ellis Island, their eyes filled with hope and their suitcases full of dreams? They came from all corners of the world, seeking a new life, a fresh start in the land of opportunity. Yeah, well, those days are about as gone as your chances of winning the lottery. The golden door has been replaced with a complex maze of regulations and restrictions. Back then, immigration was seen as a good thing. It was a time when America was growing, expanding, and needed all the help it could get. America needed workers to build the railroads, staff the factories, and fuel the industrial revolution that was transforming the nation, and populate the vast frontier. The promise of land and opportunity drew people in droves. So they opened the doors and let them in. The Statue of Liberty stood as a beacon of hope, welcoming the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the welcome mat has been replaced with a barbed wire fence. The narrative has shifted dramatically. We've got drones patrolling the skies, constantly monitoring for any signs of unauthorized entry. Sensors buried in the desert sand, ready to alert authorities at the slightest disturbance, and enough paperwork to make your head spin. The process is now a labyrinth of bureaucracy and red tape. What changed? The world changed. The dynamics of global migration and the economy have shifted. We went from a nation built on industry to a globalized economy where jobs are outsourced and automation is king. The landscape of work has been transformed. The competition for jobs is fierce, and fear of the other is rampant. The sense of opportunity has been replaced by a sense of scarcity. Suddenly, those hardworking immigrants are no longer seen as assets, but as threats. The narrative has shifted from one of inclusion to one of exclusion, driven by fear and uncertainty. Here's the million-dollar question. What do we do with undocumented immigrants? These are the folks who snuck in under the radar, crossed the border illegally, or overstayed their visas. They are living in the shadows, working under the table, and constantly looking over their shoulders. One side says, deport them all. They broke the law, they need to face the consequences. The other side says, hold on a sec, these are human beings we're talking about, not criminals. They point out that many undocumented immigrants are just trying to create a better life for themselves and their families. So what's the solution? Some propose a path to citizenship, a way for undocumented immigrants to get right with the law. It's a moral and political minefield, folks, and there are no easy answers. Section 5, we played by the rules. Legal immigrants speak out. Now let's hear from the folks who often get lost in this debate. Legal immigrants. These are the ones who jumped through all the hoops, filled out all the paperwork, and waited patiently for their shot at the American dream. They followed the rules, paid their dues, and earned their citizenship. Now they see undocumented immigrants cutting in line, and it doesn't sit well with them. They worry that it undermines the value of legal immigration and makes a mockery of the system they worked so hard to navigate. It's a valid point, and one that often gets overlooked in the heated rhetoric of the immigration debate. Section 6, open arms or open borders. Liberal policies under the microscope. Now let's talk about those liberal policies. You know the ones. Sanctuary cities, driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants, and a general reluctance to crack down on illegal immigration. Conservatives argue that these policies are basically a welcome mat for undocumented immigrants, encouraging them to cross the border illegally. Liberals, on the other hand, argue that these policies are about compassion and pragmatism. They say that undocumented immigrants are already here, and instead of demonizing them, we should find ways to integrate them into society. It's a classic chicken or egg scenario. Do liberal policies encourage illegal immigration, or are they simply a response to the reality of a broken immigration system? Section 7, anchor babies. Myth or reality in the immigration debate. Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the baby in the delivery room. The term anchor baby is often thrown around in heated debates about immigration. Some folks believe that undocumented immigrants are having children on American soil as a way to gain a foothold in the country. They think that by having a child who is a U.S. citizen, the parents can secure their stay in the United States. The thinking is, if their child is a U.S. citizen, they'll be allowed to stay. This belief has fueled many arguments and misconceptions about immigration policies. This is the anchor baby argument, and let me tell you, it's about as popular in certain circles as a fart in a spacesuit. It's a topic that stirs up strong emotions and opinions. But is there any truth to it? Well, it's complicated. The reality is that having a child in the U.S. doesn't automatically grant the parents citizenship, or even a guaranteed right to stay. Having a child in the U.S. doesn't automatically grant the parents citizenship. The child is granted citizenship, but the parents still have to navigate a complex legal system. It just grants the child citizenship. This means the child can enjoy the rights and privileges of being a U.S. citizen, but the parent's status remains unchanged. The parents still have to go through the proper channels to adjust their status. This process can be long, arduous, and uncertain. But having a U.S. citizen child can make it more difficult to deport the parents. It adds a layer of complexity to their case, often requiring more consideration from immigration authorities. It can also make it easier for them to eventually gain legal status. Over time, the presence of a U.S. citizen child can be a factor in the parent's favor when applying for legal residency or other adjustments. So, while it's not a guaranteed get-out-of-jail-free card, it can certainly make a difference. The journey is still fraught with challenges, but the child's citizenship can be a significant advantage in the long run. Section 8. Finding common ground. Balancing welcoming arms with secure borders. Okay folks, we've waded through a lot of messy stuff. We've talked economics, culture, politics, and even touched on the delicate subject of childbirth. So, where do we go from here? The truth is, there's no easy answer. Immigration is a complex issue with no silver bullet solution. But we can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend it's not happening. We need to find a way to balance our history, as a nation of immigrants, with the realities of the 21st century. We need to secure our borders, while also providing a path to legal status for those already here. It will require compromise, compassion, and a willingness to listen to each other. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. Should we all be considered Americans, whether we arrived on the Mayflower or on a raft last week? Share your thoughts in the comments.